Hello, this is Jonathan, and welcome to my Prezi um, slideshow. I guess this is a slideshow of Chang'an, which, in case, well, you will find out, is the imperial capital of the Han Dynasty Empire of China, or ancient China, should we say that? So let's dive into it. First thing you have to ask yourself is, where is it? It's about 3 kilometers north of the modern city of Xi'an or Xing or Shang, whatever you want to pronounce that or interpret it. That is probably whatever the Chinese do, but I'm not Chinese, so I'm not the judge of that. It's located on the Wei River, important river of the ancient times. And of course, most cities, as you know, are located on rivers because they provide fertility and good soils for land for agriculture cultivation. Cities throughout history are relatively, or not even relatively, are important. Cities make an empire. You don't have the Roman Empire without Rome, and the same can be said without the Han, about the Han Dynasty. You can't have the Han Dynasty without Chang'an. It's where they exerted their power from. It's their seat of government. It's where the emperor lived. I mean, you can't have an empire without emperor. Civilized, you can't have civilization without cities. They provide people, which you need people to run your armies, collect taxes, and do pretty much what makes a civilization a civilization. Um, Scientific development, can't have that without cities or a sense of social structure or anything like that. And Shenyang is especially important back then because it was the capital of, well, as I said before, the Han Dynasty. And it's not just the capital of the Han Dynasty, it is literally massive. Shenyang is pretty much a metropolis of its time. It is has amount of people, or the amount of people to rival Rome, which, in case you're wondering, Rome back then had 1,000,000 people, which is unheard of for that time period. Shenyang had about a quarter of that, which is 250,000, which is still massive for back then, considering there weren't probably like 50 million people back then. Probably a lot more. That's just me being a rough estimate. Besides having people, which is probably pretty important, it's highly symmetrical in design. So it was really the first chance at you seeing a city of that's modern, that has actual urban design to it. Besides that, is actually in the center of China, per se. Like the roads, it's centrally located to the other cities of the empire, and it's not really on the coast, which is a little weird, but you have rivers for that. Defensively, well, besides defense, there's actually other structures, like the first palaces for the emperor were built in the city. It's, in case you weren't getting this, the Han Dynasty sort of made Chang'an their pet project per se, and built many of their classical structures. I mean, besides, the Great Wall of China, which wasn't there, built many of their important structures in the city. One example of this is their walls, which actually, that's a picture down there of the walls. They kept them up after all this time, so props to them. They have about 25-ish kilometers of wall, which at the time was pretty a lot, because they don't have modern stuff like we do today to build this. This is all manpower. Now, one of the other reasons why this capital is important is not just that it's the capital for one of the largest empires in the world. It's actually on the Silk Road. It's like where people got on the road to trade their goods, which trading goods is good for, commerce, if you think about it. Like, commodities today are traded out of the Middle East makes them rich. They can build tall buildings and stuff. In case you didn't know, or wasn't previously mentioned, the Silk Road is named for Chinese silk. So I wonder where that got on the Silk Road from, aka Chang'an. There's other luxuries here. Basically got traded towards Europe because they wanted the stuff that China has. Most of European exploration has actually been in search, or at least them trying to search for an easier way to China, because if you look at this red line here, it's pretty long if you think about it. So they try to sail around. And in case you didn't know, Chang'an was the terminus on the Asian side, is where you wanted to go. It's where people ended up, it's where people traded, leaving their stuff there, trading it for silk or whatever they wanted. In China, which is like spices, there's that too. So, important. Like all good things, stuff must come to the end. Or must come to an end. And Chang'an is no such exception. Basically, at the end of the Western or early Han Dynasty, around 9 CE, they left Chang'an. They decided, well, we're just not going to stay there. It's partially due to the waning power of the Han Dynasty, which ends it ends for another 200 years. So it's part of the problem, and moved the capital to Luoyang, which is about 300 or so miles, or actually no, it's not that far. It's just a relatively short distance north of the city on the Yellow River. This is on the White River, and I guess Luoyang is ceremonially a pretty popular location because of some religious, or they believed it was like the location of the sun or something. I don't exactly remember. And after they left, a couple years later, because of rebels, which happened to be in the city, it resultantly got burned to the ground. So that's unfortunate, right? They rebuilt, but it wasn't until far after the Han Dynasty it regained much of its political power. It was pretty much never the same after the Han left. When the Han were in charge, it was the apex of their power and such back then. Currently, the city is, as mentioned before, Xi'an, however you want to pronounce that, which is a modern cultural icon because of such famous things as the walls, and Emperor's Xi'an's tomb is actually in Xi'an. So there you go. That's your rundown on Chang'an during the Han Dynasty. So thank you.